That's it. So it's a sauce. Usually very liquidy. They can be less liquidy. They can be more liquidy. And I don't know. Does anyone want to add anything about chutney? Maybe anyone who knows more than I do about chutney. Okay. So the recipe that I had found called for a blender, but we don't have a blender, so we're gonna improvise, and improvising is good. So, so just peel out the outer, so there's like a beautiful, this color inside, get that showing, and then once you have all that, you just, okay?
Take everything
or? First, you know what, just peel it first, and then we'll worry about that after. So I'm gonna start heating the pan. So as I said, this recipe is improvised a lot. The original recipe just called for all of these ingredients in a blender, and you blend it, and then done. So we don't have a blender, so we're gonna cook the cilantro down a little bit, and that should make it softer and instead of blending it. Does that sound like it? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna start by toasting the cumin seeds. Again, measurements, don't care. Just put in some. And I'm also gonna toast the mustard seeds. All right, I'm really gonna lower this. So yeah, you'll see they start vibrating really quickly, and then they, all right, I'm gonna put some lemon juice because we need to quell the heat before they burn. That's beautiful. I did turn off the heat.
So you were toasting them without adding water or oil or anything?
Yep, I like to toast them just plain on the pan because I don't use oil. We can talk about that if you want to. Do you want me to talk about that?
Talk about it.
Okay. So there's this doctor named Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Has anyone heard of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn? So he had these really sick cardiovascular disease patients, and they were essentially one heart attack away from death. They've already had like 3 or 4 heart attacks. There are about 17 of them. And he was like, all right, we need to do something to get them healthy, and I don't know what to do. So I'm just gonna change their diet, and I'm gonna take oil out of their diet, and they're not gonna eat any oil, and that's it. And when he did that, they all lived for like another 25 years, and they're expected they were expected to live 2 years less. And some of them ran marathons, and they were fine. And so I did a little experiment on my dad, who had high cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, and I was like, Dad, you're not gonna eat any oil. Do you understand me? And so I threw all the oil in the house out, and I wouldn't let him buy any more. And 6 months later, he was 50 pounds lighter, and he had no cholesterol problems. His cholesterol was in the 160s. Me personally, I don't eat oil, and my cholesterol is 101. So I have this big thing about oil. It's just like something's up with.
You want me to grate it off the gun?
Yeah, exactly. And while you're grating, I'm going to use a technique called chiffonade. Does anyone know what chiffonade means? It's a French cutting technique.
Just chopping up vegetables, chopping it up.
It sounds really fancy, but it's literally just chopping up vegetables. Before I do that, I'm going to throw out the ginger. That people take into consideration when deciding to go vegetarian, and I guess as a vegetarian cooking club, I feel like I should mention them. Sorry, I felt like I should say that. Okay, so what I did is I cut it this way. So now to chiffonade, you make it perpendicular, and you go paying attention to the. So I'm gonna add this now, and the cilantro will cook down. Fresh cilantro tastes better, but I'm gonna turn the heat off so that it only cooks down a little bit. Actually,
Smells nice.
wow, this made nothing.
That's a lot.
I agree. This was really improvised.